The banks knew the loans were garbage. They sold them anyway, and they made billions doing it. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's what the federal government concluded after the biggest housing fraud in American history. So let's talk about exactly who got rich and exactly who got destroyed. In the early 2000s, something strange started happening in American housing. Home prices were climbing fast, really fast, and banks were handing out mortgages like candy on Halloween. No income verification, no asset checks, sometimes no documentation at all. They called them liar loans, and that name tells you everything you need to know. Here's the thing that most people miss. The banks didn't care if you could repay the loan, and that wasn't an accident, it was the business model. See, a local lender would give you a mortgage, then immediately sell it to a Wall Street firm. The moment that loan was sold, the lender's risk was gone. They kept the fee, you kept the debt, and Wall Street kept the mortgage. So why would anyone bother checking if the borrower could actually pay? There was no reason to. Now Wall Street took those mortgages, thousands of them, and bundled them together into products called mortgage-backed securities. These were basically investment packages sold to pension funds, foreign governments, and everyday retirement accounts around the world. And to sell them, they needed a stamp of approval. That's where the rating agencies came in. Moody's, S&P, and Fitch were supposed to be the referees. Their job was to tell investors whether these products were safe. But here's the scandal inside the scandal. The banks were paying the rating agencies for those ratings. You heard that right. The people being graded were paying the people doing the grading. Unsurprisingly, junk mortgage bundles kept getting AAA ratings, the highest possible score, the same rating as U.S. Treasury bonds. The Financial Crisis Inquiry Commission, a federal body created by Congress to investigate what happened, concluded in 2011 that the crisis was avoidable. Avoidable. That word should make your blood boil. This wasn't a natural disaster. It was a man-made catastrophe driven by greed, conflicts of interest, and a complete failure of oversight at every level. Now let's talk about who made the money. Mortgage brokers earned commissions on volume, not quality. The bigger the loan, the bigger their cut. So brokers pushed borrowers into loans they couldn't afford, sometimes without fully explaining the terms. Adjustable rates, prepayment penalties, negative amortization, where your balance actually grows even as you make payments. The paperwork was intentionally complex. The deception was intentional too. Then there were the executives. Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns, Merrill Lynch, Goldman Sachs, Citigroup. Their traders and executives collected massive bonuses during the bubble years because profits were booked immediately. The losses came later, much later, after the bonuses had been cashed. That structure has a name: heads I win, tails you lose. And when the whole thing finally collapsed in 2008, trillions of dollars in household wealth evaporated. Home values collapsed. 8 million Americans lost their jobs. Millions lost their homes. Entire neighborhoods went dark with foreclosure signs. Here's the part that should keep you up at night. Even during the collapse, some firms kept making money. Foreclosure law firms and loan servicers collected fees on every default, every missed payment, every family being processed out of their home. The machine kept extracting profit even as it destroyed lives. The government eventually came calling. The National Mortgage Settlement in 2012 made 5 major banks pay $25 billion in penalties and relief. JP Morgan paid $13 billion. Bank of America paid nearly $17 billion in a separate deal. The numbers sound enormous. But compare that to the profits made during the bubble and the bonuses paid out before the crash. The math still favors the banks. And here's the part that makes investigators like me furious. Almost no senior banking executive went to prison. A handful of small-time brokers and originators faced charges. But the architects of the system, the people who designed the incentive structures, approved the securities, and collected the biggest bonuses, walked away. Brooksley Born warned regulators for years that unregulated financial products were a ticking time bomb. She was ignored. Elizabeth Warren spent years documenting how ordinary families were protected last, while institutions were rescued first. She was right. So who really made millions off the housing fraud? Brokers who churned loans, bankers who bundled them, rating agencies who blessed them, executives who booked the profits before the losses arrived. The $6 billion figure is just one slice of a multi-trillion-dollar crime that reshaped the entire American economy. And the system that made it possible? Most of it is still in place. Follow this channel so you never get scammed again.